Before we get started with Coach Venables, I have a couple quick updates from Coach Swinney in advance of the spring game on Saturday. I want to let you all know that safety Andrew Mukuba will not be able to participate on Saturday from an arm injury he sustained in practice, but he should be good to go come the fall. And cornerback Mario Goodrich also will not be able to participate on Saturday while attending a funeral. So two quick updates there, Mukuba and Mario Goodrich both unavailable for Saturday. Just wanted to give you all that update. But with that, we will turn it over to Coach Venables. Please fire away when y'all are ready.
Hey, Coach, it's Trevor Gross from CUTalkers.com. Good to see you again.
Hey, you're still on point. You're the first guy ready for the question. Everybody gives you kind of bull in the china shop. You go in there and bust the door down. That's good. Hey, Trevor.
The more things change, the more they stay the same, Coach.
Right.
Coach
hey,
Swinney,
now hold on here, too. Let me just say, now, the college football playoffs, they didn't have any kind of interview set up for the coaches after the game. So I'm always kind of a man to stand out in front, stand in the gap, but they didn't have a spot for us to visit after the game. And then this is I think each coordinator is allowed one time to speak this spring. So one was going to go at the beginning and I'm at the end. So Gotcha. It is what it is. No conspiracy theories, I think, going on around here.
Well, we're all getting used to these new parameters of 2020 and 2021. But Coach Swinney was telling us last Friday after the second scrimmage that he wasn't very pleased with the tackling. I guess what have your biggest takeaways been, both good and bad, from the spring?
Yeah, I mean, I think the good is I've seen, definitely where we've gotten better in a lot of areas, and fundamentally, physically. With a lot of technique. I've seen, we'll talk about individual players here as you guys fire away some questions. We talk about some position specific things, but seeing us get better, it's been a really good spring. We got a long ways to go, but it's definitely been a spring that we've benefited and gotten better. The right guys are continuing to get better. Dealt with a lot of issues with, I think 10 of our top 22 guys missed at least half of the spring, if not more. So, that is what it is right now, just whether it be protocols and whatnot. And then some guys, obviously, like Skalski and Turner and Spector and KJ Henry, Landon Zanders, they didn't take any reps at all live. So, having those guys to the side is good for other guys to get better and to improve, get those reps and get exposed, both good and bad. And there's a few plays, obviously we're trying to eliminate, any plays whatsoever. But I think overall in the day, I think we gave up maybe 4.3, 4.4 yards per play with the first and the second group. So that's outstanding football. And when it's all said and done, that's what you want to see. It's just overall big picture. And we've been doing a good job. I think we're better up front at creating pressure. Our fundamentals, the first group in particular, and then again, I like the improvement that I've seen, in our back seven. I've seen some real improvement with a variety of guys. But overall, the spring it's been good. Our scrimmages, our guys have come out and played well. Not perfect, but our guys have played well. And again, all that considered, we've had a number of guys that. Both sides of the ball, where we've missed some time, and but that's just giving other players opportunities to get out there.
Brent, this is Matt. When you go back and watch the Ohio State game, as you mentioned, we haven't talked to you since then. Just what were some of your takeaways? Where did you feel like things went wrong?
Well, obviously, you don't play like you played. Perform like you perform, and all of a sudden you did a great job getting them prepared or had this great game plan. We just didn't execute. That's all of it. It wasn't anything worth a flip. The preparation, the game plan, you just burn it all. And we did a poor job having our guys prepared. Both lines of scrimmage. We got physically worked, and they got after us. And in every way, all three levels of our defense, we were out physical. And I don't think we had the right mindset. I think that goes without saying. I think they established the run early, and it set up play action passes. We let guys run by us in 3 deep and 2 deep. and we let guys run right through us. And we didn't set the edge all day. We got knocked off the ball, and it was a bad night, coaching and playing, to say the least. So we got again a lot of work to do. I don't want to take anything away from the season that we had. We had a great year. I fought through a lot of adversity, like a lot of teams did in college football, NFL, all sports, and we had some great moments during the year. Going into the playoffs, coming out of the playoffs, actually, if you look at the playoff teams, I know sometimes, we can live with, lens where we look at just ourselves, and certainly that's where it all starts. But if you look at us compared to the other, 4 playoff teams, I think those 4 playoff teams were number 1 in defense in all the statistical categories in 15 of 26 categories, whether that's total defense, pass defense, rush defense, sacks, tackle for loss, third down defense, all those. There's a lot that is positive. Certainly we had an excellent year and a terrible ending, and a lot to learn from. It was a humbling experience and a lot of self-evaluation, and again, where we got to get better. And I think the most important thing that we do in the out of season, and what we've tried to emphasize during spring ball, and certainly will as we finish up and get into the summer, is improving our physicality and at all 3 levels. And we had 9 new starters this year. Sometimes young guys play a little bit more on their heels at times, and because they hadn't been there, done that. So that's part of it, that growth and that maturation. I think we at different times had a bunch of not only first year starters, but first year guys, that just got to college, and for all they went through too, I thought they did, remarkably well. But plenty of things from a fundamental, physicality, strength standpoint, and we've got to be able to improve our ability to dominate. We've got to stop the run. Overall in the year, I think we gave up just barely over 3 yards a carry, which is excellent. But we didn't show, against Ohio State. They gave it to us, and so we got to live with that and learn from that. But I think improving our run fundamentals is where it all starts, and I think we're going to be stronger up the middle of our defense this year. I've seen that improvement. Probably the most improvement I've seen of any 2 guys on our defense is Tyler Davis and Brian Brzee. They've had terrific springs, and if we're going to be, what we all hope that we can be going into next year, man, that's where it's all going to start is with those guys. But again, overall, just a humbling experience. Again, we didn't coach them worth a dang. Certainly didn't play well in any way, shape, or form, and just did a poor job getting them ready for it. It's unfortunate.
Brent, this is Grace from The Athletic. You mentioned getting where you want to go. When you look at the big picture these last 2 years, obviously LSU in 2019 had Joe Burrow, but are there any common themes in that national championship game and in the Sugar Bowl that you picked up on once you went back and looked at them?
Well, I thought obviously in the third quarter against Ohio State, as terrible as we played, well, it's a 1-score game. We got a chance to get off the field, and on third and extra long, we let them dump it out in the flat, and we look like the Keystone Cops out there tackling. Just a poor job of just fundamental football, and any chance that we had, we lost it there. I believe, but overall, they to me, we showed up with a completely different mindset. Total different feeling from the LSU game and the Ohio State game. Both of them were losses, yeah, but there's always a story within the story. You can't just paint them all with a broad brush, win or lose. It doesn't work like that. And the LSU game, I know the total yards and all that. People sometimes look at that, but we came out and just a much different mindset. And but we didn't play great, and help each other. But we got after them early in the game, created a lot of field position, and we've been really good in that situation as a football team, and we didn't take advantage of short fields against LSU, and we got after them on third down and really did some really good things. Had a poor 6 or 7 minutes in the second quarter, came right back in the third quarter, came back out and started playing well, and we lost Skalski, and it was tough, losing our leader after that, but we played in a lot of ways, we played really well. Some things we didn't do well. But the biggest thing, I don't think we complimented each other. I think we're 111 on third down on offense. And you know, you from a complimentary football standpoint, you're not going to win many games doing that. So especially with a team like that, that's going to force you to play with great precision, you know, all the time. So a lot of things that were different. And again, a different group of guys, you know. We lost five of the 7 guys in our back 7 after that 19 years. So this is the first year for a lot of guys, and again, just different. You know, our whole team's built differently. I don't just ball them up all together, just like I don't ball up all the wins. You don't ball up the 16 and the 18 teams together, and all of a sudden we had an aberration in 17. You know, every year's different, and you learn from winning, you learn from losing, and I think losers are going to point to, you know, everybody else, and I think, you know, winners are going to, you know, always self-evaluate whether you've been excellent. I think that you always keep your guard up, you stay hungry, you stay forward thinking, always evolving. You know, nothing ever stays the same, and so every year you get a new a group of players, and you figure out their strengths and their weaknesses and areas that you got to get better. And sometimes every year you're built just a little bit different, and what those strengths and those weaknesses are. So, you know, other than them being losses, and I really felt like against LSU, I thought that we were good enough to beat them. And on that night, I really felt like we were good enough to beat them on that night. And against Ohio State, you know, there wasn't nothing worth a dang.
Coach, how surprised were you about Mike Jones leaving? And I guess on Saturday we'll see Trenton, Simpson, and Malcolm Greene at that nickel position. You said Mario will be out Saturday, but how have those guys been doing at the nickel position?
Yeah, those guys again are who? Trenton and who?
Malcolm Greene and Mario.
I think Coach said a while back, Malcolm Greene he only practiced a couple of days, and he's been out most of the spring. He had a shoulder labrum surgery. So Trenton and Tyler, and then Mario, we're a little thin at corner. So Mario has been cross-training some there at the nickel as well. And then Mickens is cross-training as well. So those guys have done well at that position. And in regards to Mike, you know, Mike wanted, you know, a more opportunity to play inside. We've played him some inside. He just wanted more. I think he wanted a clearer path. Mike was awesome for us. Just a great person, great leader. Loved to coach him. Super easy, low maintenance. Thought he had a good, strong year. And I thought guys at his position were on the come up as well. And so there's only so many reps to go in a game. But I do think he wanted transitionally to maybe play a little bit more inside linebacker, and we certainly offered him that opportunity. But you know, we wish him well. Mike was he really has nothing to be ashamed of, and certainly we're very thankful for the time that he was here, and he did a great job for us.
Hey Brent, this is Anna with Clemson 24/7. How have the safeties performed this spring in your eyes, especially with, I guess, some of those backups last year getting more reps with Landon out?
Yeah, so Landon in, and again, look at Nolan Turner. I think I'm trying to look at his numbers for the spring. He's just barely over 100 snaps of good on good, no live reps, just over 100 snaps. So again, Xanders has obviously been out, and then Mukuba just got hurt. So again, Phillips missed some time. You know, so we've had Charleston and, you know, Ray and RJ and then Tyler. And then, you know, we've got a good group of some walk-on guys. That's who's been out at safety in our scrimmage work. So we're pretty thin there right now, especially after we lost Mukuba. But they've done well, working on getting them stronger and more physical, and work on, you know, just a lot of their fundamental, their coverage work and all that. I thought it's been a really good a spring for those guys. They've made a lot of improvement. A guy like Mickens, you know, after the season, and so he's starting to learn learn more about the defense and so he can help in, hopefully other ways. And then just, working on their bodies and again, their knowledge base and their fundamentals, things like that with those other group of guys. They've done well.
Is Mukuba someone you expect? I guess the injury just happened, but is he someone you expect to get back this summer?
Yeah, he'll be back. I think he did what maybe Jake did, hurt his arm there. So he'll be out maybe 4 to 6 weeks. He's having surgery here this week. And so definitely, and he had an excellent spring. He's had an excellent spring. And he really came in and loved his instincts, his poise, very calm. He's a really good tackler, can really cover. It's not real long, but he plays big. He's about his business. Just really on point, really great work ethic, kept his head down, very competitive, had an excellent spring. And so we're really thrilled with, again, when you have that kind of a surprise, so to speak, where you maybe exceeds your expectations or what you hoped, that's just, brings more depth and different things that you can do from a package standpoint and whatnot.
Coach, Xavier Thomas had a rough year last year, had the COVID, and then he was starting to come on and then missed the last 2 games of the season. What have you seen from him this spring?
Yeah, he's same, had some protocol things going on early, but when he's been out there, had a little shoulder banged up as well. So hadn't had as many reps as some of the other guys, but when he's been in there, been really pleased with the things that he's done. And we're looking at some teach video, some teach tapes that, from an installation standpoint here. And just pulling up some stuff that he looked, how he played and where he was weight wise and all that as a freshman. And so we're working hard at trying to get him back there because that version is really good, really special. And so he's just been snake bit a little bit from that standpoint. But, when he's been out there, I've been pleased with, what he's been able to bring to the table.
Hey, Brent, this is Larry. You mentioned the physical part of the Sugar Bowl. I was wondering what the evaluation is as far as a lineman and being out of position, particularly, I guess, with the stuff they were doing pre-snap. What was the evaluation there?
Obviously didn't do a good job. I think early when the first touchdown run, I didn't have the call in. They got us. And there are a few other times I guess they went really fast and, guys we didn't get lined up fast enough. So, but, that's, I think more than anything else, they were just more physical, but not a lot of busts, but I do think one early where they motioned and we got off the field. I think the first drive was a 3 and out, and then they come back the next drive and whether it was 1st and 10 or I think it was 2nd and long. And we have one of our young guys that didn't make the right adjustment. We have nobody in the flat. They throw it out to the back late, and it goes for 35 or so up the sideline. And you can't, just to get into a rhythm in a game like that, and they can get you on your heels early. And obviously we didn't respond well. But, that happened a few times. We went to a 3-by-1 another time and ran a switch verticals concept, and we just let guys run right down the middle of the field. Did a poor job there. And but from alignment, from an alignment standpoint, it was a mixed bag, But as much as anything, we got knocked off the ball, and we didn't set the edge. And when we started getting over aggressive with our safeties, they threw the ball in behind us, And when they established the run, we did a poor job at containing the quarterback. We're chasing the zone. Guys trying to make too many plays, chasing the zone. Nobody's playing the boot. We played the boot. Nobody's on the bend back. It was a bad night in every way.
Brent, this is Matt again. When you have a night like that, and you said guys weren't ready to play and that kind of stuff, not the right mindset, how do you balance saying it was just?
And that's our job as coaches, just so you
sure, yeah,
make sure that reads right.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, I was just saying, how do you balance saying, we need to look at some things and change some things, or do we need to look at how we're getting guys ready or that kind of stuff with, it was one game and we have a long track record of success?
Yeah. I think, you got to be realistic. So, how do you balance it? You you look at what the things that the variables, the things that took place that you can control, and what would you change, and then you go about fixing them. You know, whether that's personnel, whether that's how you adjust, certainly whether you have the right mindset. How can we be more efficient? You know, things of that nature. You know, but we got to do the fundamental things right too, like leveraging the ball, fitting the gaps. You know, tackling with the right techniques, staying on top of routes in 3 deep or 2 deep, things of that nature.
Coach, how much of a blessing is it getting a guy like Skalski back for a 6th year? You mentioned him going out, being ejected of both of your last 2 playoff losses, but we know how valuable a player he is on the field, but also his leadership off the field. Yeah,
I mean, again, just he's the model of consistency. So whether he's supposed to be in the A gap or be in the strong hook or blitz tight with timing and precision and violence. I mean, just all of them. It's a big deal. He's a quarterback of our defense, and not only that, he's played at an incredibly high level for such a long time. So when you lose that component, the next guy is the next guy for a reason. You know, I know some people might argue, "Oh, the young guys, you know, them young guys ain't better than that guy." I can promise you, I watch all the tape. I'm at every practice. So, he's out front by a long ways. And even if he doesn't have all the measurables or whatever else, he's a football player, just like Kendall Joseph, the 2-time, starting linebacker on the national championship, dominant performances in 16 and 18. And Kendall, he didn't play, I think he ran 5-1 or something, but he dominated. And that's what you lose. You lose a great leader, a playmaker, the consistency, the little things pre-snap during, once the ball snapped. And so it's not an easy loss to take.
Brent, you mentioned Tyler Davis. Is his improvement just a product mostly of him just being fully healthy, perhaps?
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. He got hurt early last year, came back, got hurt in practice again, and wasn't the same. And then the others is, Tyler's he's still a young player. So really worked. Coach Bates did a great job of finding ways to get him better, and obviously identifying those things where we got to play quicker, we got to be more disruptive, we got to play more vertical, we got to play more violent, we got to improve our pass rush, we got to win more one-on-ones, and he's put together a great plan to get those guys better. And Tyler is really, man, he and Brian have really made great improvement. Brian was a tremendous talent, and at times really flashed and was really special. And then other times, I'd be the first to tell you, got humbled and took it on the chin, like all young players. He's at one of the toughest positions for a young player to play at on the interior defensive line, and I thought he had a great year. But those guys together, again, particularly Tyler, you asked about, and he's, again, in the Ohio State game where we got knocked off the ball, everybody did, man. We got all knocked, on our butts, all night long. And so, that's been a, real focus, for Tyler. If we're going to be, again, good, let alone great, we got to play great, in the middle of your defense. It starts up front. So real proud of the work that he's put in. And again, the self-awareness where he's got to get better, and he's put his hard hat on and went to work every day going after it.
Coach, I'd like to get your thoughts on Jeremiah Trotter. I'm sure he still has a ways to go as a freshman, but is he perhaps the most ready-made linebacker that you coached at Clemson?
Wow, that's pretty far out there. I mean, he's not that ready-made yet, but he's had an excellent spring. He shows instincts, physical toughness, good fundamentals and technique. Really has been sharp mentally. Has just been very diligent, a lot like Mukuba. They're actually roommates. And so whatever they got over in apartment 1A or whatever it is over there, they got the right stuff in that apartment. And, but he really does. He's about his business. He's had a great semester academically, and the same, on the field, in the classroom, football classroom. He's been excellent. just you can really see, maturity and wisdom that's beyond his years, and that takes a focus. And again, it takes the maturity to kind of prioritize. And everybody on here is probably can remember when we were all young, or certainly if you have children, they're young. Getting them to focus on and prioritize one of the hardest things to do. And he's been able to do it his first semester, and he's had a really good spring. He's had some moments where he hit the wall, and he's had some tough days. And his grades overall, nothing to write home about, but his production has been really good. So when he gets some things cleaned up, and as he continues to get his opportunities, man, I think he's got a great future. He's got the right stuff, to him, and all the intangibles. But he's also gifted from an instinctual standpoint, a blitzing, and a physicality standpoint. Not real big yet, and so that'll be a focal point, going into the summer without putting on too much weight too soon. There's always that fine line. You want to carry it well. And I think he might be close to 220, maybe 218 or so, and maybe get him closer to 225, 228, by the end of the summer would be a realistic goal. But great teammate, is willing to be led, but he's about his business. And he's had a good spring.
At cornerback, is anyone separated there, or any two guys separated there? And with DK leaving, how does that, or not being here any longer, how does that affect the depth there?
Yeah, I would say that, again, we had Booth missed substantial time, and Mario missed a little bit. Trying to think. I think Nate Wiggins had a really good spring. He's got a long way to go, but he's got length. He's got toughness. And I think he's led us in interceptions this spring. He's got really good speed. He's got a lot of refinement, and but he's going to have to help us. Mario, probably overall, he took the most snaps and showed the most versatility, and probably had the most consistent spring. Sheridan missed a good part as well to protocol, and so obviously that's not good, but he came back the last couple of days. He's looked good. He's been a very consistent player for us. We need Booth to become that consistent force for us, and Fred Davis. And Fred, they both have had really excellent moments this spring, and just looking for them to be, consistent. And it's good to get Andrew back out here this week as well. But Mario's probably been, the most consistent, and Wiggins has had the most improvement probably from beginning to end. What you would expect from a freshman if he shows up every day and puts the work in and has his opportunities. And then I would say, between Fred and Sheridan and Booth, that's a great threesome, right there to go along with Mario. And of course, Greene. Greene I think he took 15 snaps there until he got hurt early first week. And then we also had Mukuba. He took about 50 snaps there this spring, and graded very well. And so we have some other guys that can play there, and they've had great attitude, and they've really grown and improved. And again, in all the areas that you want them to, whether it's playing the ball, it's winning on the releases, being in a good position. You got to win early to have any chance to win and compete late in a route. And so we really focused on winning early with the right kind of alignments and techniques. And then again, playing the ball when it's in the air, and then being physical, to win the perimeter. We've dominated the perimeter the last 10 years since I've been here. And the perimeter has not been an issue. And then I thought last year we were soft on the perimeter. I thought people in their run game, RPOs and all that, I thought we were soft. And you take a lot of pride. That's just run game. And to me, that's attitude. Yeah, it's leverage, it's technique, it's fundamentals, but you got to have some toughness to you. It's having a bad case of the wants, and I didn't see it like we needed to consistently last year. And again, some of it's you got some young guys, where it's Trenton or it's Greene, or we had a bunch of different guys in and out at corner and at safety, and so whatever. But that's an area that we got to get better at, and it's been a point of emphasis here this spring.
Brent, how do you evaluate Booth's season last year, and what specifically are you looking for him to improve on moving forward?
Yeah. Well, again, like a lot of guys, again, he's in and out with, different issues, man. He's banged up, and I can't remember if COVID or not, but I know he was unavailable. So when you're in and out of the lineup, it's hard to get into a rhythm. The season, you get into a rhythm, you gain confidence, you gain momentum, and you make improvement, and that was hard to do when you're missing both game and practice time. So a mixed bag, man. He was, Sports Center, highlights at times, and then other times he just wasn't available. So that's hard on, not anybody's fault. Certainly he didn't want to miss, but that makes it tough on him from the things that you're talking about, to put together what you would call a great year. And, he's capable of having a great year. And again, it just, as much as anything, being consistent with his fundamentals, with his knowledge, with, how he thinks, the game within the game, and, and how it relates to the entirety, of the rest of the defense. And you got to really understand, your role, your leverages, your depth, just a lot of things, where your help is. And so not only just knowing what you're supposed to do, but knowing what the guys around me, in any particular call affects that. And then just, again, play within, the system as much as anything else. He's had a good spring. And again, like I said, he did miss some time, and has a chance to be a special player. And needs to have a great summer in order to do that.
Hey, Coach, it's David Hood. Miles Murphy was telling us the other night that, he feels more comfortable with the playbook. He knows he doesn't know it all yet. Can you see some added maturity with him and Maskell and Breesy and Tyler Davis and tell that these guys have now played games, they've played snaps?
No doubt. Yeah, they're, again, I'm always, me, I just always believe you got to go out and prove it. I've seen the improvement that we hoped. And, to me, and Miles, you asked about Miles. Miles he's had a good spring, and he's long, he's fast, he's explosive, he's really strong, got a lot of natural strength, and had an excellent year last year. True freshman coming in and have the kind of year, again, some really splash plays, and just looking for him and Maskell both just be consistent, and again, so what does that mean? If I'm supposed to box, if I'm supposed to be the contained player, if I'm supposed to spill the football, if I'm supposed to line tighter or wider, whatever it is, those are the things that really give you a chance to be a really consistent player. Use a guy like a Foster or Logan Rudolph, who both those guys would be seniors this year. And what those two guys, they maybe never flashed, but what they did do is they did all the little things that the great ones do, and they do it every day. Like, they understand the little details that you gotta execute, show up with the right mindset, so that you can play winning, dominant football. And inconsistent players, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And so why is it inconsistent? Some of it's just knowledge, some of it's experience, some of it's just the inner discipline. And you got to be able to play, with that kind of discipline, and not get bored with it, and do it over and over and over and over. Not just the what, but the why and the how. And when those guys do that, man, we'll have a chance to be really, really good. And if we don't do that, sometimes we'll be good, sometimes we won't. But you can go any position on your defense and say the same thing. That's what winners do, and that's what good players do. They don't just flash. They do the dirty work, and they do it willingly. They know what it takes, and they're willing to do it. They're not worried about, and I'm not using those guys as an example, but they're not worried about, again, what color jerseys we're wearing this week, how many tackles I get, whether or not I'm starting or whatever. You're worried about being a great teammate, and what do I got to do? What are my details and the mindset, and the attitude, and the physicality, all those things. What are those little things I got to do for us to be consistent and to be dominant, and for us to have a chance to win? And so there takes a selflessness, it takes an awareness, and then it takes the mindset to show up every day and create those good habits. That's where it all starts. Always has, always will. And, whatever you're doing out on the practice field is going to show up, good or bad. And so getting those guys to have that hunger. You got to be thirsty for it, man. You got to be driven for it. You got to be, and you got to, a coach can't want it more than you want it for yourself. And continue to do what you have been doing. You're going to continue to have the same results. That's what they say. So, some guys, that their processes, whether it's their preparation during the week or their preparation in the summer, or certainly how they go day by day in getting ready for practice, installations, things of that nature. We got to always do a good job of checking those processes too, so that we can help those guys grow through some of those, learning pains and what have you. But Miles has a good spring. Justin's had a good spring. We need, the biggest thing is for our group of defensive linemen, from a physicality standpoint, and then just winning more one-on-ones. And we generate, I think we led the nation in sacks again. We led the nation in tackles for loss. Again, we're the number one defense in 15 out of 26 categories of all the playoff teams. I just got my notes here. Yards per play, we were number one. Scoring defense, I think we were third. Points per possession, we were first. Yards per rush, we were first. Pass defense, believe it or not, we were first. Completion percentage, we were first. Third down defense, we were first. Possessions defended, we defended the most possessions of the four playoff teams. Drive stop rate, we were first. Turnovers, we were first. Interceptions, we were first. Tackles for loss, sacks, so forth and so on. But we didn't. We certainly didn't. I didn't show up in our last game. I know that. And what we can do a lot better job again is just being more physical. Again, winning more one-on-ones, creating a pass rush with our front four without feeling like we got to expose ourselves in the back end. It goes hand in hand at every level of football, and we got to get better that way. And again, as you mature and grow through that, you typically will. KJ has had surgery in the out of season, so he hadn't been out here to help that way. But that's why we also moved Swint to cross train, just so we don't get caught thin. Like I said before, Foster and Rudolph are two guys that would have been out here along with KJ, and those three guys aren't here. So we just wanted to give Kevin a chance to utilize his skill set. He played a lot of defensive end, jack linebacker in high school. So he's a heavy-handed guy that plays with a great motor, great toughness, shows up every day with the right mindset, very competitive, super coachable, and really felt he brings value to that group. And he certainly brings value to the linebacking group, but really felt like he could have a chance to maybe help us there where we needed a little bit more help. And so been pleased with him. Denhoff has had a good spring, but he started off, I think he missed over half the spring, along with Peyton Page. Capehart missed more than half. He had a procedure done. And then Rook. Those are guys that miss significant time. So what's going to be really important for that group of guys is getting stronger, and again developing their fundamentals and techniques and things of that nature this summer will be a huge part of their growth. But really pleased with Denhoff as well. He's got a great get off, got a great motor, lacks some functional strength right now. Is over 240 pounds, 6'5", and knows what to do and knows how to play defensive end, which is a big, you're not teaching them how to play the position. Kevin's got to learn a lot of the intricacies of the position. Peyton Page has done some good things where he's flashed. He's a big mountain of a man. He's worked really hard. Has been really disciplined, and Coach Bates got him working on his weight every day. But he's lost some bad weight that he needed to, and really he's picked up on things. I'm excited about what I've seen from Peyton, because he showed up and he's worked. He's got great self-awareness, and he's been a great teammate so far. He cares. He shows up every day. When he's been here, like I said, he had a little bit of time that he missed, had maybe an injury or something, but really pleased with him. Trey Williams, another guy that's missed significant time this spring, but we're expecting great things from Trey. When he's been in there, he's a disruptive guy, twitchy, is athletic, and he's got a lot of refinement to do. Root missed most of last year. and really missed him because he was coming on, and I think he got hurt maybe in the Wake Forest game to start the year. But he's he's 310 pounds, and he can really run. He's athletic. We just got to get him to be able to play fast, but he's missed. He had the fewest amount of snaps next to Capehart this spring, just with different issues and whatnot. But looking at the D tackles, he had 25 sacks here this spring, and then I'm sorry, there's the defensive ends, and we had 21 inside and 25 outside sacks. So that's, some of it's pressure generated, and some of it's not. But they've made some improvement that way. We've worked really hard on their pass rush, really hard. And then again, we've our last mini scrimmage, we forced 4 turnovers, and you guys make some plays on the ball, and have really responded. Again, we got a long ways to go, but really been pleased with the mindset, the attitude, and again, the awareness, self-awareness, and what we've seen from these guys as far as their work and their commitment to attack their weaknesses and to improve their knowledge base and develop that cohesion and chemistry. Obviously, tough to do when you got, Spector and Skalski and Turner and KJ off kind of the sideline. But they've been very involved, trying to help, while you can without actually being out there on the field, especially during the, the live setting stuff. So, but we got, when you put it all together, obviously Saturday, we won't be all together. We'll be in split teams and pretty thin on both sides of the ball from that standpoint. And so it'll look nothing like it will in the fall, but it'll give a lot of guys a chance to play and go compete and have some fun, just looking for guys to play with passion and play with the physical toughness and something that we've always, taken a lot of pride in around here is just, how we play. And so, again, that means with discipline, that means with toughness, that means with passion, that means with effort. And when you're not, it's awfully disappointing, and could be, more disappointed, in our last effort, certainly in myself, because it starts with me. But really excited to see our guys go out on Saturday and have a chance to compete one last time here this spring before we get to an incredibly important and critical summer.
We'll take one more for Coach.
Brent, I'm sure it's been frustrating to have so many guys missing this spring, particularly after all the attrition y'all went through last year. Has there been any silver lining, though, that has developed in your eyes through that so far this spring?
Well, obviously the silver lining is that next group of guys. So guys that would have been maybe not getting as many reps, they're getting a lot of reps. That third group and that second group, they've all stepped up to the next group. So the 2s are the 1s and the 3s are the 2s, and sometimes the 3s ends up being the 1. So that's helped them grow. Sometimes it's some tough growing pains, but that helps you grow. That's how you get better. This is a developmental game. The more you play, the longer you play, the better you should get. Defense in particular is trained reaction. And so that development piece will be, really good for those guys that were, not so good for those guys that weren't. But the silver lining is you're really developing guys. I was really pleased with the linebacking group overall for the spring, and we didn't talk specifically about that. And that group of guys, again, saw Trenton get better and really start to mature. You had Mike to run out there first and to help him, and now he's kind of had to do it on his own, or some other guys that are running out there too with him to help him. But he's cross-trained. I cross-trained McGuire as well, Bentley. Levante's had a really good spring. Just got to be more consistent in both coverage and tackling. But he's had a really good spring. McGuire and Patterson have had good springs. Jake missed the first part with protocol, but he's had a good spring as well. That's a group of leaders. And Sergio Allen has had a really good spring too. He's cross-trained him at multiple positions. So that's the first time for him coming off his redshirt year. And he's done a really good job too. And I just got to get him to play with confidence. And all those guys play with confidence. If you're going to get out there, you got to be able to run it. And that means call it, adjust it, line it up, and do all the little things right so you can give yourself a chance both in the run and the passing game. There's a lot of stress on those Packers, because of that, being involved in both the run and the pass and then all the communication that runs through them as well. So I'm proud of them, the work that they've put in. It's been a very consistent group of guys and have performed, really pretty well, all spring.